Therefore it tastes salty because of that connection. Na wale since hawakuwa wanaruhusiwa kutoka nje for 3 weeks wakusanywa hapa ndani. And therefore wakisikia kiu hawakuwa na alternative ni kunywa tu maji chumvi. And again unapata mahali popote ambapo kulikuwa na opening kwa juu hivi au maybe kuna exit ya kutoka nje. Hizo sehemu zilikuwa zinakuwa deployed na guards Waarabu pia wakiwa na guns kuangalia wa slaves wasiweze kutoroka. Because of this opening then pia isemekana wali chimba hapa na spot na torch kwamba hii ilikuwa ni kama watch tower. Nasimama mtu pale Mwarabu akiwa na gun kuangalia wa slaves wasiweze kuclimb hapa wakatoroka through your opening hapo juu. Mtu akionekana jaribu kutoroka hivyo, huyo ni kupigwa risasi ya kichwa afe on the spot. Again, kuna rules nyingine ilikuwa wanapewa, kwa mfano wasipige makelele hapa ndani, wasipige mayowe ya aina yoyote, wasipigane au pengine wasikosee Mwarabu. Labda pengine mtu amedisobey rules za Waarabu. Mtu akionekana amedisobey rule yoyote hapa ndani, ilikuwa mtu huyo anafungwa chain mikono na chapa mijeledi hadi afe mbele za wale wengine. Kuna few pieces of chains hapa nyuma ambazo zilibaki. This one is very very old. Really, because this is not a replacement, it is said this is the original chain and it was attached here in 16th century. 16th century the slave trade hapa East Africa ilikuwa sasa iko juu zaidi kuendelea mpaka 19. So one hand of a slave was attempted to escape, for example, au anajaribu kuleta makosa yanayote anafungwa hivyo. And also another hand was chained here. There was another one here. Lakini here as you can see it's gone due to age. Therefore you find the hands of the person was stretched sideways from leg. Ikifungwa na chain kila upande. But one was chained facing this side, facing the wall. Na ndio sasa aweze kuchapwa viboko at the back. Na anayemchapa kichoka was also trained by the way. Anakaa kwa hii jiwe hapa so that apumzike kidogo apate nguvu. Baadaye akipata nguvu ana repeat the whipping. So he would repeat the whipping several times. Hadi slave nani? Nikupumzika tu. Yes, 10 days, yes. Sasa atachapa hivyo hadi slave atakufa. Akikufa mbele za wale wengine ni kwamba watu wasikia uoga, hawataweza kurepeat makosa kama hayo. And again we've said earlier that the kafir had a tunnel that side which extended to the beach. Yeah? Wakati huo yes ilikuwa haijazibika pale mwisho hiyo tunnel. And therefore hii underground tunnel ilikuwa inatumiwa kama way out. Wale slaves ile siku wanapelekwa kwa market were being led out through that underground tunnel. Ndio sasa wakifika pale kwa beach wanapata tu kuna big ship, big that waiting for them and therefore were loaded and be transported away to the market. Wakifika Zanzibar vile tulisema wanapelekwa Yemen, Muscat, Oman, India as well as America.
The slave
wanakuwa collected. There were two major ways on how these people were obtained. One, zile communities zilikuwa na leaders wao wanaoitwa chiefs or kings. Chiefs or kings sometimes walikuwa na collaborate na traders wanauza wenzao. What they did sometimes wale chiefs wana organize vita na jamii nyingine, neighboring community, na wale ambao watashikwa as war captives watauzwa kama slaves. But sometimes the Arabs would capture people with their own hands. Wanaenda tu kwa kijiji wakivamia wakishika watu. And by the way as we know, wale Waarabu walikuwa na superior weapons, walikuwa na guns. Waafrika zao ni mikuki tu na mishale. So were easily defeated. Wakishikwa hivyo wanaletwa. There were no roads, hakukuwa na railways. Wanapita through thick bushes and forest. So there are some who died on the march. They died on the way. Mtu kikufa hapo kwa njia, hakuna njia unafanywa mwili unaachwa tu na kuanza kula cha wanyama pori kama mafisi baadaye.
Is it the same place where they were castrated? This place?
No. Slaves were not castrated in East Africa. Were castrated once they reached the land of Arabia. And there is a reason to that. Wao waliona kwamba hawa wa Afrika ni kizazi au ni watu ambao kwamba si watu binadamu wa kawaida, ni that creature. So wakifika kule kwao were not allowed to give birth, because if they gave birth they would deathify the land of Arabia. And again there was also another reason. It says kwamba wale Waarabu wao ni wafanya biashara. Mtu anatoka nyumbani kwake anaweza kukaa mataifa ya nje for almost 6 months or even 1 year ndio arudi nyumbani akifanya biashara kule nje. And therefore akiweka slave pale nyumbani atafanya vitendo vichafu na mke wake. And therefore to stop that yes, anakuwa castrated. That's why you find hakuna descendants of slaves nchi za Arabuni as they are being seen in in America today.
Au slaves walikuwa wanazalishana hapa?
No, hawako wanazalishana hapa ndani.
Hakukuwa wanawake hapa ni.
Wanawake walikuwa but haukuwa na muda huo, haukuwa na mawazo ya kuzalishana because ukiona watu hata wengine wanapigwa risasi na kufa in the cave, hautakuwa na mawazo kama hayo.
Alafu nikuulize,
ladies were collected as slaves, yes. But ladies wakiwa collected were not taken out of their continent. Walikuwa wanatumiwa along the coast of East Africa. Along the coast hizi sehemu zilikuwa pia zinakuwa occupied na Waarabu, wakiwa na palaces, wakiwa na houses, wakiwa na plantations. They needed people to work for them. So they targeted ladies wafanyie kazi along the coast, especially kuwatumia kama house girls. But wale ambao walikuwa wanapelekwa nchi za nje, most of them ni wale very strong men ndio sasa kufanya zile kazi ngumu zaidi.
Hapa inamaanisha.
Yes.
Walikuwa wanaweka wanaume pekee.
Wanawake pia wanawekwa hapa. Yes, hapa ndani. Wote. Both.
Hiyo ni na choo ilikuwa.
Hakuna there's no toilet facilities in the cave. That's why you find walikufa kwa epidemic diseases hapa ndani sababu hiyo. They were treated just like animals. Sio ati kwamba as human beings.
When would one be declared a slave?
Nikushika tu. Yes, anybody. Yes, nikushika tu. And by the way, you know, these people could not unite and fight back against the traders in the cave. Though slaves walikuwa wengi, ni kweli. Hata kama hawakuwa na weapons, lakini walikuwa wangeweza kuzidi wale ambao kwamba ni guards, because hata ukiuliwa kubi, by the way, wengine wangesurvive wakawa sawa, but hawakuweza kuwa united kwa sababu were collected from different speaking languages. So they had no one language ambao kwamba they could unite themselves. Yes, and fight back against the traders.
Okay, I was not around when you began. When was this one last used?
This cave was lastly used in the year 1873, and that is the year when the market in Zanzibar was closed down. Yes, okay. Yes, it was closed down that year. But in 1873, when the market was closed down in Zanzibar, it doesn't mean that that marks the end of the slavery and slave trade along the coast. No, it was still smuggled out, but only that the cave was no longer being used as a holding ground for slaves. Yes.
Sasa huko interior walifika wapi ku collect slaves?
Interiors walienda mpaka karibu Sultan Hamud. Hiyo highway ya kwenda Nairobi hapo katikati hapo.
Huko ndio tunatoka.
Yes.
And they used to walk.
Walking. Yes, walking. Yes, walking. Yes. Wanatembea. Yes. Ndio, wanatembea tu. Wakifika mahali kama ni kupumzika 2 days watapumzika, then afterwards wanaendelea na safari.
So nikuulize,
yes.
Umesema hakuna mtu ametengeneza this cave.
Yes,
is there a geographical explanation
yes.
of how it came about?
Yes. This cave we've said earlier that made up of coral rock as well. Yes, made up of 2 types of rocks, the limestone and the coral rock. And when we talk of coral rocks, then it means that this was part of the ocean. Because coral rocks were under the seawater as reefs years back. Coral reefs under the seawater are produced by very tiny sea creatures called the polyps. And you find that it's not only this cave which was under the seawater millions of years ago. No, the whole village of Shimoni was part of the ocean. Because if one happens to walk around here, it's going to realize that the land has got a lot of scattered coral rocks of which were under the seawater. Underground, there are those places called the tectonic plates, which sometimes moves. And when the tectonic plates move, sometimes you might hear that a place has had an earthquake. So earthquakes sometimes are produced because of the movement of these plates. And as well, when this place moves underground, there is a certain force produced called the tectonic forces. So you find that those millions of years ago, when this was part of the ocean, then those tectonic plates underground moved, and therefore the land which was under the seawater, that land comprised with coral reefs. It had living creatures. It had dead forces. That land was lifted upwards by the tectonic forces. And after the formation of the cave that way, you find water from the ocean nearby heated the cliff in and out, spending the tide as a heavy wave. And therefore you find more underground tunnels were created as a result of an underground erosion, because all areas which were weak underground were eroded by that movement of the seawater in and out. That's why we said that the cave had underground tunnels. There was one here. I said earlier that it extended to the beach. One could walk through. There was another one behind us that side, which extended almost 7 kilometers underground that way. They were created as a result of that underground erosion. Yes, we can walk this way so that you can see the end. Ambazo zinakuwa formed hapa kwa market. This picture, as you can see, it is labeled stalactite. Yes, these are features that are being produced because of reaction when it rains outside the cave. I mean this way. Ukinyesha huku nje ya caves. Mvua ikiwa imenyesha sana. Afterwards the rainwater normally penetrate through this rock. We've said earlier that the caves is made up of lime and coral. So that rainwater normally dissolves with calcium and lime, because there's calcium and lime in a rock here. So the mixture of these three components reacts, because rainwater has got acid. It has weak acid. So when they react, there's another component formed called the calcium carbonate. So the mixture of these all the components now, plus the mixture of components like rainwater, calcium, lime, and the calcium carbonate drips down slowly downwards. When it reaches the end here, little of that calcium plus the water drops down. Little of it remains at the end here. So it dries up and solidifies itself to a rock. So because of that calcium and lime left at the end here, after every time it is raining, you find this kind of a rock is building itself downwards.
So it goes downwards.
Yes, and once it touches the ground, many years to come, obviously it will touch the ground. And once it touches the ground, it won't go deep. It will broaden itself sideways. This one's coming downwards, like this one. It's the one that is called a stalactite. There are some which do start from the floor, because that calcium which drops down sometimes goes upwards. Yes, it's known as a stalagmite, that one. And sometimes also you find the two features sometimes joins. When they join, that feature now bears another name. It's known as a limestone pillar.
And don't you think that one time, because of that reaction, that this thing may cave in?
Yes, millions of years to come, one will want to be able to access beyond here, because as we've said, this one will broaden itself sideways. So there is no way one could walk through here, obviously.
Okay.
The underground tunnel which extended to the beach, we tend to walk here up to where it ends. But in here there is no free circulation of air, because there's no... Why are you scared? Don't be scared of that. Because there's no big opening. Yes, there's no opening like this one which can act as a ventilation. Yes. Hakuna shida. Hatuta spend a lot of time being there. Sawa? Yes. But slaves were as well held there. And some of them died because of suffocation. Yes. We are not going to spend a lot of time.
So this is also another one watching.
Yes, because of this opening up here. They thought some of the slaves might even climb and disappear through the opening there. Yes. Whenever there's an opening on the roof, they made sure that...
clothes from?
Clothes? Clothes? Which kind of clothes?
The one, the slaves.
They were given from Arabs.
No.
Walikuwa wanavalia kakitu tu.
Yes. Ngozi za wanyama.
Ngozi?
Yes, walikuwa wanavaa ngozi za wanyama. Yes. Wanafunga hapa hivi na kidogo hivyo tu. That's all. Yes. Hakuna kitu kingine unavaa.
Hakukuwa na kuoga, hakukuwa na...
Yes, hakukuwa na kuoga. Mtu ameshikwa huko, analetwa hapa, anawekwa hapa ndani for 3 weeks hajaoga. Ataoga akifika sokoni Zanzibar. Atalazimishwa oge chumvi. Maji ya bahari. Akioga chumvi maji ya bahari, then analazimishwa kujipaka mafuta ya nazi. Ndio onekane ngozi yake ni ya afya. Yes. Then wanapangwa in rows. Sasa mtu aliyetoka mataifa mengine kununua slaves, walks in between the rows to select the best slave. Yes, anataka. Yes, namna hiyo.
Na wale wakupata wanunuzi.
Yes, wale wakupata wanunuzi sometimes wakaona kwamba hanunuliwi sana, mtu kinunua 10 20 unapewa moja nyongeza. Yes.
What were the principles for picking of the slave? Strength or something like that? What is it they were looking at as they
The
selected?
strongness of the person. Yes, the strongness, the muscle. Yes.
So nikuulize, what are some of the works they went to do there? What are some of the
Kufanya
works?
kazi za mashambani kubwa kubwa, kulima. Yes, kulinda mashamba, plantations za mitende, kufanya kazi za nyumbani kama house boys. Unaona, kubeba.
Wakienda huko walikuwa wanauliwa.
Wapi?
Na kurudi
After
walikuwa
they have
wanarudi.
taken away to
No, they were not killed unless if you do something wrong to your master.
provoke
Yes,
them.
yes. If once you provoke them, you will be killed on the spot. Yes.
Na ukizeekea huko.
Ukizekea bado
When you become old.
atakufa. Si ukizekea.
Hakuna kurudi huko.
There's no way you will come back. Yes.
Ukienda umeenda.
Once you are gone, then
Unaenda ukienda.
forget about your
Unaenda
land.
ukiendanga.
Wacha tupitie as well, you can walk through here. Hapa. Kama unisikia bend kidogo. Tumia
Mind your head.
mind your head. Unaona, this is maji. Hii ni maji. Sasa hii ni maji ya bahari of which flows into the cave and out filling the side. Even today it behaves that. It is increased the cave through the tunnel that extended to the beach. Na wakati kwamba slaves wakiwekwa hapa kwa makezi, hii maji pia ilikuwa inakuja. But when water came in that way, nobody cared. Wanaachwa tu kwa maji.
Walikuwa wanakaa kwa hiyo maji.
Yes. Right? Yes.
huo mnyama ulikuwa umezidi.
And hapa kuna bats pia, hizi ni bats ambazo zinaishi hapa. Maybe hizi sio zile bats ambazo kwamba umewahi kuziona mahali, because these ones, as you can see, they look black, they've got little whitish on their chest. This kind, though are of different species in the cave here, but this kind normally feed on small insects only. Mosquitoes, flies, minyoo midogo midogo, moth na wadudu wengine wadogo. Kuna zile fruit bats ambazo zinakula fruits. Fruit bats do not stay in the caves, they stay on the branches of trees. And with them, yes, they look brown in color, not black like these ones. And again, wale fruit bats ni wakubwa zaidi in size than these ones. But bats wote wapendi mwangaza. That's why wakati wa mchana wanajificha kwa macaves. Au wanakuwa very calm somewhere, hanging upside down that way. And when it reaches night hours is when they become very active. So all these bats living in the cave here, when it reaches around 7:30 in the evening, they found a way out through the openings on the roof of the cave to go to the village and look for insects to feed on.